Question number one, Murray, that under the current Labor Party government, why weren't prize money increases, which were included in the current round of wagering tax relief funds that have been exclusively directed to infrastructure?
Thanks, John. We've already sort of touched on this a little bit in the opening questions, but I'm sure that most people in the room are aware of the recent announcement that the state government made, and that is the establishment of the Raising Capital Development Scheme, and that is worth $110 million, and that's really been established after a request that came directly from the industry to improve a lot of the infrastructure that we had in tracks right around Queensland. And that, of course, is being funded by 50% of the government's wagering tax revenues are going to be devoted to that scheme over the next 5 years, or over a total of 5 years. And that, I think it's really worth remembering that that is the single biggest injection of funds into the racing industry by any government anywhere in Australia ever, as a one-off hit. So I think it is important to acknowledge the gravity of that decision, and that it is a real signal from the government that we are serious about putting money into the industry, albeit in infrastructure. I suppose the other way to look at that, and I realise the point of the question is about prize money, and I'll come to that in a tick, but everyone within the industry has acknowledged that we have needed to do something about our tracks and the facilities on track. And if that money had to be found by the industry itself, that of course would mean money being diverted away from prize money as well. So it's another way of making sure that the industry doesn't have to dip into its own funds to come up with prize money. But I suppose the central point to answer the question about prize money is that this government does not believe that it is the role of the state government to be directly funding prize money for the racing industry. It's something that no state government in Queensland has ever done, to my knowledge. It's something that no other state government in Australia does, to my knowledge. Different states obviously have different mechanisms for how prize money is allocated, but to my knowledge there is no other state government in Australia that directly funds prize money, and that's, I suppose, the decision that we've taken. We feel that the role of the government is a little bit more hands-off, and again, some of the changes that we've made in the industry in recent years at the instigation of the industry were to take government out of some of the day-to-day running of the industry and let the industry get on with running itself. That's what we've done. We established a legislative framework that was really designed to ensure that we had probity in the industry, develop confidence in the industry, the kind of things that are going to need to be developed to get people on track, to get people betting and generate further prize money. So I suppose we see a more limited role for the government in the direct funding of the industry, but I would ask people to remember that we have actually stumped up significant dollars in recent weeks with a big injection of capital to infrastructure.
Thank you, Murray. Tim, I'd ask you to come forward, and from the LNP's point of view, have there been anything different from the LNP? Would the money just gone to infrastructure?
We certainly see the role of that funding going into infrastructure. We would continue to support that investment in infrastructure. We understand that there are a number of pressures on the industry. My view is at this stage, as we're going through the process, is that we need to focus in the short term on giving the industry some certainty about where it's going. I don't believe that it would be the job of the Minister or the government to continue to make decisions about prize money and funding. I do think those are the responsibility of control boards to make those allocations. What we would like to see is support for the industry so that the prize pool grows, so that we can get those larger amounts of money out to those people who participate in the industry. So we certainly don't believe it's the role of government in that sense to be directing prize money. We think it's the role of government to support the growth of the industry so there can be more prize money in the pool.
Thanks, Tim. Murray, next question to yourself. The strategies that an ALP government would plan to address the large potential imbalance between prize money in Queensland as opposed to prize money in New South Wales, which is, we know, when the result of the court case is handed down, could have a massive injection of prize money, and of course with Victoria. The training fees in Queensland are on the same level. In fact, a lot of the trainers tell me, because a lot of the food supplies that have to be bought from really parts of New South Wales, their training costs could even be higher. Tell us the strategies that the government has in place to address what is going to be a major imbalance in the prize money between Queensland and the southern states?
I think it's important to first of all acknowledge that there is that difference there. I do accept that that is the case, and that is something that has been around the industry between Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria for some period of time. And again, I don't need to tell people in this room that that's largely because of the significantly higher amount of betting that is placed in those other states, given that most of the funds, that's where most of the funds are coming from for the prize money. It's a little bit similar to my answer to the previous question, that I don't see our government taking a role in actually directly funding that prize money itself. But I suppose I'd like to pick up on something that Tim just said, and we have a fairly similar broad view, and that is that the best thing that we can do to assist address that imbalance in funding is to develop a strong, robust, credible industry in Queensland that people actually want to bet on. That's the best way to get that money flowing through to prize money. Again, that's why we've taken the decision around infrastructure. If we continue to let tracks deteriorate in the way that they were, that would actually lead to a reduction in the quality of the racing product, and I think would have increasingly seen people depart the Queensland betting scene. So the more that we can do to support the industry through ensuring that it remains a credible industry that people have confidence in, with good infrastructure, good facilities, we think that that's the best way to address that imbalance in prize money.
Thanks, Murray. Tim, for the people here in this room tonight, the racehorse owners, without owners, we don't have a racing industry. It's as simple as that. They are, and a number of trainers here as well, they are the vital at the coalface people in racing. But they are genuinely concerned about this major imbalance in prize money levels between Queensland and our southern counterparts.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I think that what we've had in Queensland over the last period of time is a stagnation in the prize pool, and in the if you like, the amount available for distribution. The disparity between Queensland and the other states has been there. It is a function of the size of the pool that's bet and the market that's there. I don't believe it's been helped by in recent times, an industry structure that has led to, I think, some very high litigation expenses, taking money away from the funds that have been available. I think there have been some costly decision-making processes that have taken money away from the pool that would otherwise be available to fund increases in prize money. I believe, it's our view, that the way that the industry is currently set up does not maximise the use of the funds that are being put into that pool and the return that's coming back through the product co-agreement. So we think eliminating waste, having a better control structure, would free up more funds to enable us to address, or enable the industry to address those imbalances between Queensland and New South Wales and Victoria in particular.
All right, thank you, Tim. We might now move, because Tim has touched on racing structure. Murray, if we come back to you, and I'd like to know, first of all, given that the new control body has been in place for, about 15 months or so now, where all three of the codes, thoroughbreds, harness, greyhounds, under the one control body, what is the government's feeling about whether it's the success of that move, and what your plans are for the structure of the control body of racing going forward?
Thanks, John. Well, we are satisfied with the development of the single control body to date. It's obviously, when you establish a new structure for any industry, it's never going to be perfect, but on the whole, we feel that it has taken the industry forward, and I know that there's been a number of turf clubs and jockey clubs around Queensland that have actually supported some of the work that QROA has been able to do with them in the time that they've been established. In terms of the future, it is our government's intention to retain a single control body into the future. And again, just to take a little bit of history, it was really done in response to representations from the three different control bodies that something needed to change. The three bodies submitted an issues paper to the government back in 2009, outlined some of the problems that the industry was experiencing, and many of those problems related to the duplication of effort that was occurring as a result of having three different control bodies. So that was the driver for us amalgamating those three bodies into one back a year or so ago. And I think we do feel that that has already delivered some good results for the industry. I understand that by bringing those three organisations together, RQROA has been able to save $1.3 million in its operational funding, and that of course means that that's more money that can actually go back to the industry. So there have been some benefits already here's a disagreement on that point. But so we do think that there's been benefits already, but I think we need to remember that there are going to be some really, obviously crucial things happening for the industry in the near future. The commercial agreement with Pt2 ends in 2014, and we feel that having an experienced, capable, unified body undertaking those negotiations on behalf of the industry really benefits the industry, rather than having three separate bodies continuing to compete against each other, cannibalising each other, and not actually delivering a good return for for owners, for trainers, and for punters. So it's our intention to retain the single control body into the future.
Thank you, Murray. Tim, from the point of view of the LNP, will you be going on with one control body looking after the three sports?
Well, John, if you're looking for a point of differentiation, then this is it. We certainly don't agree that the structure that has been put in place is delivering the outcomes that it was hoped it would deliver when it was put in place. We also are very, unhappy with the way that the constitution of Racing Queensland has been set up. The lack of input into the decision-making body and the control body from those involved in the industry is of ongoing concern to us. We think that the industry and the industries, harness racing, the greyhounds and the thoroughbreds, would be best served with control bodies that have input from those people who are participants and members of those industries and have a say in what's going on. So we are very clearly, and have made it very clear for some time now, that we believe three control bodies for each of the separate codes is the way to proceed. Let me also say that we also believe that there needs to be a very, very strong and separate integrity function that is not associated with each of the three control bodies. And we believe that that is essential to the future of the industry, that people have confidence in the industry and its administration, and we believe that will also lead to a return to punters having faith in the product and having faith in the codes.
I'm sure people wouldn't mind me asking a supplementary question, given that the government has said that they will continue, they wish to continue with the one control body, but if the LNP believes that there should be three control bodies, now on from the point of view of thoroughbred racing, of gallops, what would be the structure of the control body for racing for gallops under the LNP?
Sure. We would actually like to speak to the industry about how they see that best operating and get their input back into it. We are very much about involving people from the bottom up into the construction of the control body for their industry. We are happy to talk to each of the participants in the industry, across the industry, and to seek their advice as to the way they think it should best operate and how it should best go. So we are, in fact, committed to talking to people and building it from the ground up, rather than having what we think at the moment is a very top-down model where the edicts are issued and thou shalt comply. And we're very much about having a much greater input for people involved in the industry.